right now we have about 32 women on. We're expecting about another 10, but they'll catch up with us. So I wanted to introduce to you, where'd she go? Where is Regina?
I love.
Oh, there you are, right behind me, right below me. Okay, I'm Meryl Balaban, and Regina is right over there, and we are the co-women's league membership team leaders. And what we wanted to do today, oops, let me just change my view here. Okay. And what we wanted to do today is give the small sisterhoods an opportunity to meet and greet and to talk about issues that may be different for small sisterhoods, or maybe they're not. That's what we're going to find out today. Are the issues for small sisterhoods any different than the issues for large sisterhoods? And when we say small sisterhoods, we're talking about a membership of 30 and below. We started with a membership of 25 and below, but found that we moved it up to 30 and below. So I just want to see a show of hands like this. And just keep it up until I can see everybody. How many of you have a membership of 30 and below and less? Okay. We'll go to the next page. Keep it up. Okay. So then, am I assuming that if you did not raise your hand, you have substantially more? Do you have 40 and below? Raise your hand if you have 40 members. I'm trying to get a sense of how large these sisterhoods are. No, 50. Okay, so then many of you have like 50 and below. Just raise your hand so I could see. Okay.
All right.
All right. So we're talking about a variety of sizes of sisterhoods here, and that's fine. What we wanted to see is, is it different to have a sisterhood that's so small than one that's larger and bringing in more members? Margie, if you want to bring on the first slide, Margie has put together. So we're going to show some slides in the beginning here and talk about it, and just go to the next one. And then the second half an hour, we're going to open it up to Q&A. We're going to have discussions. I want you to share your ideas with each other. You have the second slide there?
I'm just doing it.
There it is. Okay. I want you to share your ideas and how different things are affecting you or what your challenges are. This first slide, I have to relate a personal thought with this first slide. Don't look at anything else but mindset versus reality. I have a problem with weight. You can go back to that first slide. I have a problem with weight. My whole life, I'm always on a diet. When my son, who's now 45, was 13 and going to the bar mitzvah, I decided I needed to lose weight. I needed to lose a lot of weight. So I went on a very strict diet, and I did. I lost a lot of weight. And looking back at those pictures, I really did look quite good. But while I was going through it, I kept thinking, oh, why can't you just lose some more weight? Why can't you just get to be that size or this size? But no, I was always beating myself up. Whereas now, so many years later, when I really have gained all the weight, and I look back at that time, I'm saying, what was wrong with you, Meryl? Your reality was nothing like what your mindset was. Your reality was you looked really good. You didn't need to lose any weight. But my mindset was different. My mindset said, nah, you're not where you should be. Well, that's what we want to talk about here too, is our mindset and our reality interfering with each other and trying to either grow our sisterhood or even appreciate our sisterhood as to where we are. I mean, sometimes we don't need to even grow it. We just need to redo it. It's like redoing your cabinet sometimes, or redoing your furniture. I know my mother had moved, I'm in Florida, my mother had moved from Florida and brought her furniture up to up to New Jersey. My aunt came into her apartment in New Jersey and said, "This is gorgeous. You bought all new furniture." And my mother said, no, it's the same furniture from Florida. Well, sometimes you just need to reorganize it. And that's what we want to do. So do we have a negative mindset? And does that prevent us? Does that prevent us from moving forward and doing some of the things that we would like to do as a sisterhood? Now, are your limitations truly a reality? We're too small. There's nobody new to bring on. There's the same old leaders. No one's stepping up. We're tired. We've been doing this for years. I can't do this anymore. It's going to fall apart. Oh, remember what it used to be like? Remember those good old days when we had so many functions and so many women came out? You can't find leaders like those leaders anymore. They knew how to run a sisterhood. Why bother? It's just not going to work anymore. Okay, so let's just stop and toss that around.
Okay, well, first thing I want to do is I want to ask everybody here to reorganize themselves a little bit. And by that, I mean, would you take a look at your screen name? If that is not your name, we don't know who you really are. And if you only have your first name, we still may not know who you are because, we have a couple of Donnas on and a couple of different people on. I don't think there's anybody else that's with Regina on, but, we would really like to know who we're talking with today. And notice I didn't say talking to.
Yeah, we're talking with iPhone, and that's really hard to do. So if iPhone can change your name so we know who you are, that'd be great. And Sisterhood President, love to know who you are. So yeah, let's find out who we all are. If you don't know how to put in your name, let us know. And I know that Debbie knows how to do that. So, okay. Regina, do you want to, oops.
I was just looking. Okay, iPhone is the only one I don't know who it is now. Okay.
And Sisterhood President. Okay.
I didn't see that. Yeah, there it is. Sisterhood President. Okay. So if you don't know how to do it, don't be shy. Let us know.
Yeah, you can take off mute so you can jump in if you want to talk. Right. Okay, go ahead, okay. Regina.
A lot of times, it's just a matter of asking somebody to do one event, a one and done. And that can eventually that person will see that, oh, I can lead something, I can show something, I can teach something, whatever they want to call it. And if they do an event that way, you may start building some leadership that way. But when we're talking about our smaller sisterhoods, I'm just going to use the number 30 and under. Do you really have to have all of those offices filled? There are some key offices, like a treasurer that you might need, but do you really need a president? Can not everybody just chip in? We need to think about what works for you. And don't think about the past. The past is over and done with. Don't think about what's happening in 5 years. It may or may not happen. We never know because none of us plan for having all these isolations and Zoom meetings and everything else and not being able to go out to eat. But, we just don't know what's happening. So we can't say, well, the sisterhood's just going to fold anyway. What difference does it make? It's not necessarily going to fold.
Okay, what Regina was saying here with the leadership, sometimes when I talk about leadership, I explain that it doesn't have to be exactly the way you've always thought it should be, with a president, a vice president, a secretary, and a treasurer, yada, yada, yada. What you can do if you're really in a jam and you really feel like there's no one to step up, just say, what's your favorite pastime? What do you like to do? Oh, you like to cross stitch. Well, would you like to give a class on cross stitching? Well, all of a sudden you've got a program lined up. You've got a program and a leader lined up. And for each person, I had a meeting the other day. It was great with my sisterhood. I had a calligraphy class on Zoom, and whoever signed up got a packet of 3 calligraphy pens, and they sent us calligraphy paper to print out. Then through Zoom, we were watching this calligraphy person teach us how to create each of the letters to do it in calligraphy. Everyone loved it so much. No one wanted to get off. We all wanted to learn the next step in making capital letters and everything. The things that you never thought you'd be able to do is so now accessible through Zoom. So making Hummentaschen, if that's your thing, doing calligraphy, learning how to play Mahjong, all of this can be done in Zoom. And you only need 1 or 2 people that is willing to say, oh, I'll teach a class on Mahjong, or I'll teach a class on drawing. For that, people will step up. Okay. And the other thing I was going to say is that usually what happens is there's usually a leader will surface, and you get these people lined up to do these different events, these different programs. And all of a sudden, listen, we're all leaders in this group. We all have taken on a leadership position in our sisterhood. That's what makes us who we are. So it's not uncommon that if we're in a little group and all of a sudden we say, okay, we just need someone to write an article for the synagogue newsletter. Oh, I can do that. I'll just do that. Okay, so fine. Now you have one person that's going to do that. Make the jobs small. Make them small, make them manageable, and make them finite. No one wants to feel like they're going on and on forever. Regina?
And if you and Margie, you want to put up slides? If you and a good friend want to get involved and do something with your sisterhoods, there's a lot of things you can do is to go online. And if your people don't know how to get on to the Women's League website or to any of their programs, or if they're not getting the information, ask them, share the information with them, how to get on, how to register for an event like this one, and see all the different things that we have. We have Makom Bayachad. We have book clubs. So you like to read? Read the books and meet the authors. They're all online. I'm sure many of you know about Presnet, but even though, and you think, well, why should I bother? I'm just a handful of members, but that's open to all of you, and that's where you can get more ideas and also make contacts. Just because you're small, and a lot of small sisterhoods are in same general geographic areas. So get together, do things together, plan something together, and share with each other. Make new friends that way too. Keep up with your old friends that way. How many people have you not seen because of COVID that you would like to see? And maybe if you can get them to sign on to a Zoom program, then it could be just coffee and chatter for the first couple of times. You can play bingo. There's so many different things that you can do. The world is turning to online Zoom type programs. So that's what we need to talk about next. Coming up soon, I forgot the exact date. I'm sure there are many people here who will be able to tell me. We have a program that is called Personal Conversations. The next one's going to be about organ donation. So it's not just learning how to play Mahjong or how to make a challah or needlepoint. It's getting an education too. I personally don't know a lot about organ donations. We have, as many of you I'm sure know, the the newsletters that come out, you see the weekly words of Torah. There's so much in those newsletters that we can share with our membership, with other people who don't want to read those things. You know, you get so many emails, but share the information.
You know, the Zoom has been wonderful and it's been difficult. There are many women, I have to admit, who have told me they would love to come on, but they don't know how to do the Zoom. They get very confused. Well, if you have one or two members of your sisterhood that are willing to just sit with somebody and explain the steps of going on to Zoom, then they can participate also. They can be part of your inner circle. They can be part of the lessons or the classes that Women's League is giving out. And we just need to teach them. So, well, okay, we're back here. Wait a minute, let me just, okay. I just when it flipped over, I just lost the page here. There was an interesting thing, and I don't know how many of you are aware that we are connected with Sharsheret, which is the Jewish women's breast, what do you call it? Support system. And they're a wonderful, wonderful group of women that we have teamed up with. And they are going to be having an internship this summer. And that's another thing that if you were, you know, going on to Women's League information, you would see that. We're trying to really encourage the women to seek out the information that Women's League is offering. And officers. So, okay, so you want to get your officers lined up. You feel better with officers. But as I said, we don't necessarily need to have the officers. We just need to have some people take turns leading. And, you know, and be willing to give up that model. If you need to, you'll change your bylaws down the road. But you don't need to stick with that model anymore. Now, someone was just saying they did a pink Shabbat. Carol, can you just explain to us what a pink Shabbat was? You got to unmute yourself. Okay, you got to unmute. Can you hit, yeah, there you go.
I got it. You all had to let me unmute.
Oh, okay, Margie, okay.
We had 3 members of our congregation who were going through cancer, breast cancer. And we decided in October to put together this Pink Shabbat. And it was incredible. It was so meaningful. The members who were going through it were just so moved over the fact that we all took the time to support them. Mm-hmm. And we worked with our rabbi. It was a Friday night. It was simple, but it was incredibly meaningful.
Right. They do a great job. I know my niece had breast cancer and Sharsheret was told about it. They came over to her house. One person sat down with my niece and one person brought over toys for her children. And they, you know, they played with the toys while their mother was sitting and talking with somebody. I mean, they just have a heart. I want to introduce Grace.
There are many ways that, you know, Sharsheret offers support to the families of Jewish families of women that have had breast or ovarian cancer. And they have a lot of speakers that are free of charge. But one thing, and Jennifer Schreiber also mentioned that they had a program that they had a devar from a breast cancer survivor who was a member of her congregation. I wanted to just mention one thing real quick that we have, we've been talking about, Meryl mentioned recently about your officers and whatnot. And along those same lines, I want to make sure that you know who your region president is, and yet you get their newsletters. And also, if you have not heard from anyone on any level of your region, your president, your sisterhood support vice president, your Torah Fund vice president, anyone like that, you need to let us know, and we'll get you in touch with your regions, because they can also help you through all of this.
Yeah, they are the link between Women's League International and the Sisterhoods.
Right.
And they are there purposely to help you and to guide you. I want to introduce Grace. Where'd she go? Wait a minute. Grace Sessler, who is Women's League Programming Vice President. Grace, yeah, if you can share your thoughts with the Sisterhoods about programming that might work better for smaller sisterhoods versus large ones, or doesn't it matter?
Yeah, I was just going to say, I'm not sure that there is necessarily a distinction, because we spoke about before, very briefly, Regina mentioned partnering with other sisterhoods. When you might, there's one in the next town, but now you have to adjust your thinking. There could be one in California and you're in New York. If you are planning something for your sisterhood out in LA, you can put it on the Presnet, because I've seen it, and my sisterhood is right here in New York, saying we need 4 sisterhoods, let's say, to split the cost of this speaker with us. It's a fabulous program. None of us is alone anymore, because we're all so easily connected beyond physical location. And beyond that, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. There's so much programming that is coming out of your region. Other sisterhoods, which you will see advertised now in the Women's League Week, so make sure that you are checking back. And Women's League itself, as Regina said, there's so many programs available. But if you come together as your sisterhood, let's say you have 20 people and you decide to come on together, you could then have a follow-up Zoom and just discuss the program. Sometimes programming means just being together with your other sisters. I know Margie really feels strongly about that too. And you'll see that every week there's a programming idea of the week in Women's League Week. And sometimes it's free and sometimes it costs something. But instead of, let's say, having a book club, you can rent or download a movie for absolutely free and share it on Zoom, just like you would a PowerPoint presentation, but you enable your audio share also. So you can all watch a movie together and then have a discussion about it. You feel as if you are together even when you're not. And that's what we're just mostly trying to do, be together when we can't physically be together. And if there are any programming ideas that you have that you'd like to share with other sisterhoods, I'd love for you to reach out to me so that I could make it a programming idea of the week. Or if you're looking for ideas, again, reach out to me. I'm going to put my full name and my email address in the chat. And basically, we have something created for every holiday, whether it's a Yom HaZikaron or it's a Passover program. We try to stay ahead and anticipate your needs. But if we haven't, please ask for an idea and take advantage of what is before you. You see a good idea from another sisterhood, don't be shy. Nobody's going to reach out for you because they don't know that you're out there necessarily. But if you say, hi, I'm Grace, and we're looking to team up with you, and we have a great group of women here, and nobody's going to say no to you. I have a quite sizable sisterhood, but we're asking people to join us because the more the merrier on Zoom. And why not share those expenses? So programming is my thing. I love it. And I love to brainstorm ideas with you. And I'm here for any of your needs.
Thanks. Yeah.
Thank you.
I will put it right now in the chat. I know I talked fast, but I have a doctor's appointment.
No.
I wanted to get a lot in there, and just know that we're always here.
No, we appreciate you coming on. What I'd like to do now is open this up. If you can unmute, Margie, if you can unmute everybody. so that we can talk to each other. And we started off by saying, do small sisterhoods have different challenges? What's the matter? You can't see it? How to undo it?
Meryl?
Yeah, the small sisterhoods. Oh, Renee? No, I was just seeing if
Just
Margie.
unmute yourselves, ladies, because I have a mute to all of you, but I don't have the unmute to all of you. Not sure why. So knock yourself out, press the button.
Okay, if I could just say a few words before everybody
Yeah.
starts sharing.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share, you talked about Zoom before, and we do have a Zoom chair in Women's League who is, she and Sheila Kaufman and Corinne Lipnick helps her, and they will teach your members how to use Zoom. You just have to contact me, and I will also put my name and email address in the chat there. And if a sisterhood doesn't have their own Zoom, I'm sure you can use the synagogues. You just have to arrange the time. And, or else a lot of people have their own Zoom lines because they're Zooming with family, and I'm sure somebody would be willing to share. And I know that you were talking about changing the structure, not having all the positions that are listed. Now, bylaws is a totally different issue, and your bylaws may call for a certain thing, but if you want to change your bylaws to make them more flexible, Marilyn Berkowitz is the Women's League parliamentarian and a consultant, and she can help you do that so that you don't have to stick to your exact structure if you need to make some changes. So I just wanted to address those things you had already brought up, Meryl, and thank you.
Okay, thanks, Renee. Appreciate that.
Okay,
so
one more thing I just wanted to mention specifically that a lot of the smaller sisterhoods are putting together Sisterhood Shabbatot, but we have an alternative program as well. That is something that we've developed this year that you'll see on the Women's League website, which is Chachana L'Shabbat B'Yachad. It's a pre-Shabbat program where there are 24 readings. So it could be almost like one per person in a small sisterhood. And it's a way to come together to build spirit and ruach before Shabbat. And all the readings are on the website ready for you. Most of them are English, a few brachas, but it's a great alternative to a sisterhood Shabbat for a smaller sisterhood, and also because some synagogues don't allow Zoom on Shabbat, and this way it's before.
where would they find that on the website?
So you go on to WLCJ.org, and it is found under programming. You click Sisterhood Shabbat, and it will give you 3 different offerings. You'll have the actual Sisterhood Shabbat information from this year that's based on our theme B'Yachad. And then you'll find the Hakana program. And then there's a third option for a Rosh Chodesh program, which is actually on March 14th, coming up real soon. The readings from each of them can be interchanged. So if you really like some of the Chachana readings, but you want to do it on Shabbat, you can pull them out and you can make it your own. We've provided the materials to give you options. Okay. Any questions for me before I have to run? And then, sorry. Okay.
Thank you
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Grace.
Thanks, Grace. Okay, so now I do want to ask that question that I started with. Do you think that the challenges for a small sisterhood are different and maybe more challenging than a larger sisterhood? And if you do, what do you think they are? And if not, I want to hear that too. But being smaller, does that mean that it's more difficult? Is your reality different from your thank Margie, reality different from
I can't make political jokes about alternative realities.
is your reality different from your envision, what I started saying earlier? So what is your reality? Do you find it more challenging being a smaller sisterhood? Just raise your hand so you can, or just jump right in. You have to unmute yourselves though. Jennifer Schreiber?
Ella?
For us, with our synagogue, Temple Israel Winter Springs.
Wait, you're breaking up. Hello? I think you're frozen.
Temple Israel.
No.
Temple Israel, Winter Springs, Florida. Okay. We used to have a sisterhood of about 100, and we dropped down to in the 40s, and this year we're at 51. And I have to say that the difference that I've noticed is that it's harder to get more people to attend the events in Zoom right now, because so many people who work are on Zoom all day, and trying to get them to come onto a program over the weekend or at night on a weekday is more challenging, just because they're computered out right now. But I would say trying to get people to get involved, trying to get people to step up to take positions, coming up with programs. None of that is different for us. We are trying to diversify and change the types of programs that we do to address the current congregation members versus what we've always done in the past who are still with us.
Okay, Jennifer. Jennifer, you said that you have trouble getting people to come on. I hope you can hear me. I'm wondering if
Yes,
I'm wondering if you are not capable, but are able to have an event with your women in a parking lot at your synagogue. Have them sit in their own cars. Have the cars in a circle.
Our parking lot is not designed for that. Our parking lot goes in a U around the sides and the back of the building.
Okay.
So it's hard for us to do that.
But
and now that we're getting into the hot weather, we can't really get anyone into the field next to the temple because it's so hot out coming up. So we couldn't schedule anything for right now during the heat.
No, well, see, most of us aren't in the heat.
Florida, middle of Florida.
Right, you're picking up. Billy, I want to get you, Billy Bornstein.
So I don't have a small sisterhood. We have between 100 or 110 members, but we're an older congregation. So we have older members. Our difficulty is getting anybody to do anything. And so of course we do have I'll say younger, but since I'm in my 70s, I don't know what younger really, younger is my age. And that's been the big difficulty. And of course, with COVID, you can't really, it's hard to compare this year to any of the other years. But again, we're not a small, I mean, I'm pleased that we have at least a little over 100 join, but they've joined, but nobody wants to do anything.
Okay.
Do you think they would I'm sorry, Jean. Do you think they would step up to just do one little program or, lead something that they enjoy doing?
Well, so this is my second year as being president. So last year we did have some programs and, we had 10 to 12 people come out and that was it.
Are your people using Zoom?
Some.
Okay, what if you had something like something off the wall and silly? Just tell everybody, I know you have a hat around the house that you don't wear anymore, or it's a straw hat you wore out just to keep the sun out of your eyes. Decorate it. Let's have a hat decorating contest. And you know, something silly like that. And then you just sit around and kibitz just to get them started on coming in and doing things.
Right, right. That's a very good idea. I'm certainly going to present that when I talk next with my board. One of my goals when I became president was to update our bylaws, because we had very, very old bylaws. So we did that, and then we had a general meeting to, adopt them. And we had 30 people join our meeting, and that was all.
You know what I always tell people, it's 30 or 12 or 15 more than, if they didn't come. I'd rather have 12 people come to this meeting and 12 people come to my next meeting. And then you've got 24 people who have supported Sisterhood. So, you got to look at it like, wow, I had 12 people coming.
Margot?
Yeah, our congregation as a whole also is older. I'm one of the youngsters there, and I'm about to turn 69, and I'm one of the youngsters.
Where are you?
In Melrose, B'nai Israel, Emmanuel, in Elkins Park, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And
That's nothing.
my co-president, MBIE we call it, my co-president and I were in office for 2 years, and we were planning, our year starts in July, and we were planning, nobody wanted to step in. So we were planning a planning meeting with we got some new congregation members, had left another synagogue and came to us. I won't get into it, but we were going to help try to reach some of them. And we had a meeting planned with some people from Women's League. And of course, that was for the end of March. And of course, that never happened. So I want to try to do that online if possible. I don't know what you call the person that helps.
Well, Renee Ravitch is the person that would arrange for a consultant to come.
Okay.
So anyway, consulting services.
Right.
Yeah, we haven't, because the person who was going to do it last time, she's no longer in the position. So, but we kind of didn't do much, but we did have a meeting a couple weeks ago, and we did have one of the members did have a program. She had a slideshow on Jews of the Balkans of a trip she took, but we had technical problems. But anyway, we are planning a trivia night. We're planning a trivia night and maybe a cooking demonstration. So we're trying, but we have some people, and we have a book club. We do have an active book club that's been meeting every other month. We do, what I was going to say. I'm sorry.
No, it's okay.
Hey, we're all there.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it happens to me all the time.
Join the club.
No, but we're trying to get something going and maybe get somebody to take over, because we're tired. We're tired, and we have some members who say they won't pay for anything on Zoom.
What do you mean they won't pay for
They won't do anything on Zoom they have to pay for.
What? Oh,
any events.
But there's an awful lot that Women's League offers that is covered by your per capita.
Right. There, most of the things that I can't even think of anything where you would have to pay.
Well, I'm saying, like, if we wanted to do, during the course of a year on regular times, we would do a fundraiser, we would do some things to raise funds that we can't do. If we try to do them on Zoom, we have some people that won't, they'll only do free things. So the trivia, I don't know. We haven't decided if we're going to charge for it or not, but.
As long as you have the money in your account to cover whatever expenses, then, that could be part of what they're paying for their dues.
Well, we donate money to the synagogue at the end of the year, and I think that's what they're looking for, but, we don't.
We have
is raising her hand. Maybe she has something that can help.
Ella as well.
Yeah, we have a larger synagogue, Sisterhood, but we also have several people who do not pay online. But we just, when we put out our flyers or whatever, we say you can call so-and-so, either the treasurer or the person who's in charge of that event, and send a check. and they just have to make sure with their email address, if you have one, they have to have an email or something to use Zoom. And then the treasurer and that person who's getting the money from the computer, through the computer, just have to make sure they coordinate as to who is coming, how many are coming, and their email addresses, so they can still pay by check.
Yeah, we take checks, and we check. Our congregation president is a member of Sisterhood, and she gets the mail. She lets us know if there's checks for Sisterhood. And we do, pick them up and send them to the treasurer. But, and we did a couple fundraiser things. We do a greeting book for the high holidays, and we did some Shalach Manut cards and things like that we got checks for. But, we were going to try to do some fundraisers through Zoom, but I don't think we're going to be able to.
I'd like to hear from someone who has a very small sisterhood.
Ella has had her hand up for a while.
Ella?
My congregation, which is Temple B'nai Jacob in Wellington, Florida, has approximately 65 family units. And that could be either a single person or a family of 6. My sisterhood has 21 dues paid members. Mm-hmm. Of the 21, we have had approximately 12 to 13 who come to programs.
Wonderful.
We have no board. I want to say that I do everything myself, but I do have several people who help me, especially now with Zoom. It's not that I don't know how to do it, but there are some of the technical issues that I have to rely on other people. I believe I got this program idea from somewhere on one of the Zoom meetings, but I want to tell you that it, even though we're very small, it was one of the most popular programs. We did it this past Sunday.
What program was it?
I'm going to tell you.
Oh, yeah.
Very briefly. We asked for the women, and I sent the message to the whole congregation, so our 21 members, we asked them to send in baby pictures.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah.
And what we did was we had the pictures. Well, the woman who helped me had the pictures that she shared on screen. I also sent out an alphabetical list of the women who had sent in the baby pictures. Mm-hmm. So it didn't, coordinate. They had to guess.
Right.
And also, as we did what I called a game, my guess is as good as yours. I had a sort of a hint, for each one. Right. For example, the president, co-president of the congregation had sent in a picture. And so I said, this is going to be a musical cue. And we did da, 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 da. So, I mean, there were all, clues that they could understand. But I have to tell you that I expected it to be, like, okay, fine, a little, it was wonderful. Now, 21 members, I've had a program every month. Oh. From October so far. I'm planning for the end of March to have a program again on Zoom with shared screen with information about the Jews of India and the Jews of Abba Dubaya, which is the Uganda Jewish congregation.
So you have someone
where did you find that?
Yeah, I was
you can find that you can find anything online. So actually the organization that works with the congregations in Uganda is called Kulanu with a K at the beginning, Kulanu. And they actually have music on YouTube. They have their children singing Hatikva. They have some of their versions of the Shabbat morning prayers, etc. So, and I also will share after we, we talk about it. I also will share with them my pictures of, I did a tour of the Jewish congregations of Mumbai.
Oh,
There are 8 synagogues
Wow.
in Mumbai. And so, I mean, just another program, but
right. No, but these are great programs, Ella. Did you ever think, because you're down in Florida and there's several synagogues in your area, did you ever think of doing it with one of the other synagogues?
it's very interesting. There are a couple of congregations that don't welcome participation from others.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I don't know how to put it any more
okay.
mildly.
Yeah.
So,
That was nicely
That
phrased.
was a nice way of putting it.
Tallahassee, Ella, I would be very happy to.
There you go. You got a partner, Ella.
Take
Right.
your offer.
Up the road.
Take your
Adele. Okay, let's hear from Adela and then Kathy and then Betty Ross.
I think that one of the most important things we need to do,
Excuse me, how many members are in your sisterhood?
a little over 60. Well, I actually belong to 3 sisterhoods, but the small one is a little over 60. The thing we need to remember is the most important thing we have to do now is to connect. And, I think that's extremely important. It may be more important at this point in time than doing fundraising, because if that seems to be a turnoff to some people, they won't connect. And I think whatever we do, we have to just keep that word connection in mind, because that will carry us beyond this period in time. If you don't make these connections now, we won't have them later on either. And people are looking for things to do, and they're looking for people to talk to and faces to look at. So if you're not going in that direction, you're probably not going in a good direction.
Thanks, Adele. That was
I-
very helpful.
Okay, Kathy.
So I am from Adachayim in Owings Mills. My president is on, but I'm the VP of programming. So just a few quick things to remember. We have a small synagogue and a small sisterhood, but we have more sisterhood members this year than we did last year. And we have taken it upon ourselves, especially being small. We split up, a few of us. We make calls every single week. We connect, like Adele said. You need to connect, and connecting with your members is the most important thing. Finding out what's going on, if they need anything, reminding them of upcoming programs, staying in communication personally with them is great. The other thing is, one of your slides talked about thinking outside the box. I actually would like us to think about decorating a different box and creating things differently. Not necessarily thinking outside the box, but creating something a little different. Many of our members, and I've heard today, we have people with different interests and different paths that they enjoy, different hobbies. Create those small little things. 10 people at a meeting versus 50 is just as good, as long as those women are engaged and interested and learning and enjoying and having fun. So I think we need to keep those things in mind. It's not the size, it is small. And then the last thing I want to share is that our sisterhood, with Tina can also say that we went to a committee instead of, we have officer names or titles, but we have a committee. We all work together as one, with one goal, one mission, one calendar, and we work as a team and don't put any big thing on any one person, so that we are all sharing a little bit of what we need to do for the whole year. And it has worked wonderfully for us the last few years.
That's great, Kathy. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Okay, Betty Ross was next.
Yep. Hi. I'm in the Springfield Synagogue, Temple Bethel. I guess I'm one of the youngsters. I'm going to be 70.
Which state? There's a couple of Springfields.
Massachusetts.
Okay.
Massachusetts. And there's another young lady on the call today, Charlotte Meyer, and she's in her 90s, and she's probably the biggest firecracker. But the same thing. We had about 77 people last year. We have about 57 people this year, but it's not the people, it's not the amount. You could have 300 if people aren't involved. So it's a Jewish group, and it always revolves around food. Whenever there was things with food, people would come. They say, feed them and they shall come. So this COVID has been difficult because we've had high teas with the skit, we've had Sisterhood Shabbats and the Torah, and just always around things like that. And people love to come to that. I send the newsletter out to, again, on Charlotte's suggestion. So we've sent it out at least half a dozen times to our members. Here's some wonderful programs, here's some information, might like to know about it. I send emails out just, wishing them a happy holiday. How are things going? We're thinking of you. We miss you. We can't wait till we get back together again, and whatever. But, there hasn't really been any programming. We have people who don't even have emails. And we had a book group at our synagogue, and I invited everybody in the sisterhood to please partake of it. And I said, if you don't have Zoom, you can do it on the phone. You can use your phone. I don't think, if anything, if you got one or two people, that got involved in that. So I was wondering, when Ella was saying she's having these great programs, is there any way that people can contact Women's League, and you could have a place on your programming, flyer or newsletter, whatever you want to call it, and say, on this date, Florida is having a program on, what to do with organ donations, or, whatever she did about the Jews in Uganda.
Betty,
Whatever.
I know in the regions, they're doing that, where they're sharing the different sisterhood programs that are happening in the regions. So I'm not sure if your region is doing that, but I know several of them are. You might want to speak to your region president and ask if they can do that.
I mean, I'm also in Hadassah, so I'm popping into a book group in Rhode Island and another one in, south of Boston. And, it's great. It's wonderful. Yeah. So it's good for the people running the program. They're getting more people involved. It's good for the people who are trying to find things to go to, who are interested.
Absolutely. And just coming back to what Kathy was talking about, the idea is that you want to keep in mind and to walk away with, for the smaller sisterhoods particularly, is it's better to have tasks than to have titles. That's what you want to focus on. Focus on the task, not necessarily the title. Whose hand?
Okay, wait just a minute. Back to Betty's question and suggestion. You can put your information out there. You can put it, have your president put it on Presnet. Okay. I know my sisterhood just recently had a Mahjong tournament. They sent it in to the Women's League office themselves, and it was listed on the weekly updates, the Women WL Week that came out specifically just for our sisterhood. It was not a regional project. So yes, in answer to your question, yes, sisterhoods can contact everyone else through Women's League.
Okay, that's great. I mean, there are some things out there, and then perhaps people in my sisterhood would go on one of these programs and get excited to maybe want to, replicate it ourselves as well, or something different. They might get the interest.
We've got one more slide. Marilyn.
Marilyn, I think Marilyn had a hand up.
Just gonna say, we have a large sisterhood, fairly large, and more. We've had 3 Jewish centers come to us because there's such a lack of, not many Jews moving into the areas around Queens, New York, in Queens. But and I've gotten ideas from the BQLI, who've been wonderful. But I wanted to do, we just did the last minute, I did a Humantaschen. I spoke to someone and I said, you know, you might, but none of us are out and about and the shul is closed. They do a minyan and that's it. But someone was nice enough to do a Humantaschen demonstration. And then I wanted to do something for, it's Women's History Month. So I called the rabbi's wife, who I thought was, who I know is very into this. She passed it to say, why don't we ask a gerontologist, a female in our sisterhood? And through her, I called and I got 3 members who are going to speak tomorrow night. And it's hopefully people will show up, talking about what life was like when they started in finance, medicine, and I forgot the third. And what? What?
Law.
Law, right, law. I didn't hear my husband's listening. And law, right, and law, when they started, and she's 40 years ago, because we're also an older congregation. Right. And no one really steps up, but we are having the Torah Fund brunch. We did a wonderful Purim with fundraiser where we didn't make anything really. We sent all the money to charity because every year we make money and we make Purim baskets, but no one was doing it this year. But we are trying, but it's hard to get programs to find out. And I love the Jews of Uganda.
Right. No, that's great.
But there's no one that steps up.
Yeah, well, that's why, like we said, a task. Sometimes you can just get a person and her friend to lead a program. But I just want to see if there's another person here from a small sisterhood before we have to say goodbye.
Daryl, we need to show the last slide.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Meryl, if I could just ask something also. Sometimes we tend to sit at a meeting or sit on a Zoom with a bunch of people and say, who wants to help? Or who wants to do this or that? Rather than saying, Margie, would you please do this for us? And it's that specific ask, or calling somebody on the phone and asking them. They are much more likely to say yes and help you out. Just keep that in mind, please.
Okay.
Margie. I just wanted to say something to Jennifer. One of her issues was that a lot of people just don't want to go to the large meetings, the group meetings, because they're Zoomed out. They pick and choose what they Zoom. And so if it's not one of their top, I'm really interested in that, they're going to pass on it. So I think that this is the great opportunity in the Zoom world to have less of those all-togethers. You know, you have a Torah fun, you have a fun night, you have a holiday, but pick and choose those 4 or 5 in the year and add more special interest programs. Because even if 4 women want to sit and discuss Broadway, whatever, or the price of rice and shit, it doesn't matter. If you have some more special interest groups, because that's what they're passionate about, those 4 or 5 women will get on those calls because that's what they care about. And you're better off, as Marilyn said, servicing, you know, a group of people to say they follow their passion and have less of those all-inclusive. You want to have a few of those to bring the group together. But this is a good opportunity to break it up and say, this is what you're passionate in. Let's have a program just for you. Even if it's 5 women, those 5 women are happy campers. And they are buying into being serviced and meeting their needs because of a sister program. So
we're starting to do that. We're starting to do that.
Good girl. And if you need help with that, that's what we can help you with. That's why we have consultants who could sit there and work through a programming or work through these issues with no one stepping up or saying, you know what, suspend your bylaws for a year and let's rewrite our history and let's figure out what works for us today. And then we'll rewrite the bylaws next year after we've regrouped and we changed our model, you know, our system to all teams and not a structured board. You know what, do what you need to do, and whatever you don't feel like you can handle on your own, that's why we have consulting services to one-on-one to come into your sisterhood with a group of people on a Zoom now, no one's traveling, and say, let's work through that one issue, whatever your issues are. Let's go to the last slide. I know what they are. Hold on. I knew that there was
coming up. While Margie's getting that up. Oh, there it comes. Good. I think. Okay, we're not, we decided we're not reading this to you because we're all big girls. We know how to read, but just keep in mind that it will get done. Make things simple and don't worry about it. It's going to happen. Like we said earlier, don't worry about what's going to happen in 5 years. Don't worry what already happened. Don't think it's not going to happen again. It can. Just do the best with what you have. You're there, you're community, and we're here, and we're part of your community too.
Can I just ask a quick question of
Absolutely, Betty.
Marilyn Telecky
Yeah.
said she was doing a Torah Fund brunch. I'm just
Right.
wondering, how does that work on Zoom?
Yeah, let me get out of this close. Okay, we're doing it the way we always did it. We have our honoree and we charge the $18. We usually charge a lot more, but we charged 18 because we have to pay to BQLI or whatever to the thing, and the money goes to them. And we're not having food, but we're having the rabbi speak, and we're having the cantor sing a song. He always makes a song up about the person. And we're having, it turns out my sister-in-law from Israel is going to speak on kibbutz life then and now. And someone from the, I forgot where, but at 2 more speakers. And we're doing it just the way we always did it. And hopefully we collected the money and we have enough. We're going to have desserts if people want to pick up. We ordered, and they can pick up a dessert box from a company that does it. But and a lot of people won't want to pick up a dessert box because people may not want to go, because outside of the shul we're not open.
Do you, if they're contributors, do you let them come to the brunch at no charge, or is everyone charged?
Everyone's charged.
Everyone is charged, but I'm sure that if people didn't want to pay, so far everyone that has been in the sisterhood and a few men actually have paid, and her relatives aren't being charged, and they're Zooming from Canada, and we're in New York from Florida, so they're not being charged. But we just did the same format that we've always done, and it's, hopefully it'll work out.
And tell me again which sisterhood. Tell me again which sisterhood you're with.
Hollis Hills, Bayside.
Right. Yeah.
Right, which is about to become Eretz Hayim. We're getting another Jewish center joining us.
So that's a third one?
The third one is joining, so we're no longer going to be the Hollis Hills Bayside Jewish Center.
Wow.
They want the name changed, so it'll be tough.
Yeah.
But we're changing our name from the whole synagogue. And so we're getting more sisterhood members, but, I'm near the youngest and I'm 70, almost 71.
Plug for that, Marilyn, and this is just for anybody. If you have merging congregations and or merging sisterhoods, Women's League has a program just for that. So we can come in and sit there and work through that with you as well. Congregation wise is one thing, but sisterhood for sure. And we have a program on merged sisterhoods. And sometimes if the congregation's smart, they sit in on that program. But we have that also through consulting services.
That's interesting.
We want to thank everybody for joining us today, for your ideas. If you have any other questions or anything we could help with.
Adele has had her hand up.
I'm sorry, Adele, I didn't see it. Idell?
That was probably from before, never came
Oh,
down.
okay,
Oh,
okay.
okay. We wanted, anyway, are you? They're all waving and I don't know what they're waving for. I wanted to leave you with one small thing. A lot of you mentioned that your membership is older. I'm sure a lot of them knit and crochet. You could have them just sit and have a knitting clutch, just kibitz while they're knitting. And if they wanted to make something like this, it's 2 inches by 5 inches and about a 1-inch size button on either side. You put it in the back of your neck and you connect your mask to it, and it makes it so much more comfortable. A lot of doctors' offices, hospitals.
Oh, that's great.
Are taking them.
Okay, Gina,
Just
I'll
make
call
sure
you right
it's a
back.
washable yarn.
Thank you all for coming on. And before Debbie speaks, I just would like to say that we would like to have another meet and greet with small sisterhoods. Is that something that you would like to see? Just raise your hand if this is something. Okay, great. Yeah, we'll plan it again so that we can get together again. And now I'd like to introduce our International Women's League President, Debbie Cantor-Goldich.
Thank you very much. So I want to thank Meryl and Regina, supported by Margie Miller today, to bring this great program to you. And if you leave with one thought, one idea, it is that you pay per capita dues, and for that per capita dues, you get an awful lot. And consulting services with Renee, programming with Grace, membership support with Regina and Meryl, and lots of help. Even the last program that Margie referred to, if you have emerging sisterhood, we can help you with that. So those are some of the things that you get for your dues, and we would love for you to take advantage of that. The other thing I wanted to mention is that we have a newsletter that comes out every Monday, late day, early Tuesday morning. It's called Women's League Week. And if you do not receive it, please put your email into the chat and I will make sure that you receive it. We have an info line called info@wlcj.org. If you have a question and you don't know how to get help, put it into the info line and we will make sure that you get your correct help. Okay, there are many ways that we can help you and support your small sisterhoods. Don't feel that because you're small, you don't deserve what everyone else gets. So please let us know what you need and we will help you. Again, put your emails into the chat and I will make sure you get it. If you get it and you want someone else in your sisterhood to get the newsletter, let me know. All you have to do is tell me their name. I'll look them up and I'll make sure that they get the newsletter, that they're subscribed. So thank you for spending your afternoon, evening with us, depending on where you are in North America. And we look forward to helping you. So let us know what you need and we will provide it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.